We are in the Ember months. Have you ever heard that phrase, the Ember months? September, October, November, December. Elena, is that something that you've ever heard of? It's a very popular phrase in Nigeria, the Ember months.
No, never heard of it before today. So completely new to me, but understanding what it is, it makes sense, doesn't it? You can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. But like when people say the Ember months, they say it either in like, ooh, yay, we're in the Ember months, or oh crap, it's the Ember months. And it's like, oh, trepidation, fear, and caution, and you better be careful, blah, blah. So I think it's you have to make a choice of what do the Ember months mean for you?
Yep.
How are you going to tackle the Ember months and what are you going to do in the Ember months? So I have 6 things that I'm going to make the Ember months about for me. And the first thing is that I want to, in this last quarter, set ambitious goals.
Yeah.
Would you agree that's something to try and do for this last quarter of the year?
Definitely, because it's the last quarter. It's like, what can you possibly achieve in that last quarter? It's like you can throw everything at it. You've got
Yeah,
these 4 months to do it, to go for it. The past is the past. Hopefully you've had a really successful year up until now, but there's nothing stopping you from having, finishing on a high. So why not throw everything at it and, be forward thinking, positive, put into action, those plans, those goals, and see what you can achieve. There's nothing to lose, is there?
exactly. That's exactly the spirit, isn't it? There's nothing to lose for absolutely going for it. And I'm going to look at my goals and I'm going to then drill down a bit more and I'm going to MVP that bleep,
Yep.
to make sure that I get something out of this last quarter. And we talked previously about planning tactics and things to goal setting
Yeah.
tactics. So for this last quarter, what's the number one thing you would say how they should approach setting their goals for this last quarter?
I would say if you've already got a goal that you're working to and you've got maybe a little bit left, re-establish the steps that you've got to do in order to get to that very, very end point. But it could also be that things have slightly changed. So I would also say to reassess and be clear about what it is you want to establish for that last quarter. And again, break it down into manageable chunks that you can revisit and you can sort of revise or reset against where it is you want to go to. What
Yeah.
about yourself?
No, that's brilliant. And that comes nicely into the second thing, which is plan it, right? Plan the heck out of it and trust the process of the plan. So sometimes it's like, I haven't achieved that thing, but when you go back and review, you'll notice that you didn't actually follow the steps in your plan.
Yeah.
So you've taken the time to create that plan. Please actually follow it through. And
Yeah.
once you've followed it through, then you can go back and say, okay, this part didn't work, this part worked, and then you can revise. But if you never actually ever trust the process, how can you improve? What do you do from there?
Exactly. Yeah. You've got to have that baseline that you can work through. And yeah, like
Yeah,
you say, go back and see what happened, what went right, what went wrong. How can we do it a different way if needed?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, I think it's important in the Ember months to actually start celebrating what's gone on in the year so far. Start bigging yourself up a bit. You're
Yeah.
in the ninth month, you're in the end zone stretch. Something's happened in the last 9 months. Start giving yourself some pats on the back. I think that replenishes something within us.
I agree. I think some of us find it really hard, but you're right. It is so important to celebrate our successes and to realize we have overcome, even if, it's a little thing. It can be something's happened. There was something that then came out of it, a silver lining day. You're not in the same place you were 9 months ago. You've
Yeah.
moved forward. You have had small wins. Celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the big wins. Recognize where you were and where you are now. It is
Yeah.
important.
It's so important. And that point you just made, Elena, about celebrate the small things as well. It's like sometimes we don't give ourselves any slack. And unless this big thing happened, it's like we don't celebrate. What about all those small things that happen that you had to do in the lead up to the big thing?
Yeah, definitely. Have to recognize those.
Recognize indeed. Recognize indeed. Now, this one, you might find this one cheesy, Elena, but I think it's important to tap into the energy of the time of this period. So you're going to start seeing lots of decorations about, and it's like, is this crass commercialism? Put that aside a bit and just get into the spirit of happiness. This is the period when, if anybody's going to give you some grace, it's during this period. So I'm trying to remind myself to let cynicism go a bit more and get into the spirit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it depends on how you look at it. I mean, yes, as a whole, I do feel this period there is positivity, especially around those aspects where you're in celebratory mood, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of years of holidays around that. Commercialism, yes, because I keep hearing things about pumpkin and pumpkin spice. I'm like, does not resonate with me at all whatsoever. But for me, I am feeling a sense of optimism, and it has got something to do with the fact that there is this amount of time left, and I don't know, just to be joyful and appreciative of the fact that there's 4 months left in the year where things can happen, things can be achieved. But yes, if we can tie that with some of I mean, personally, I did see Christmas decorations yesterday, Marks and Spencer's. I was thinking, okay, because the children have just gone back to school. Who's thinking about Christmas? But yes, I will give you that one. There is something in terms of being festive, making the emotions with the festivities go through, because it is that time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Embrace that happiness in a way, because sometimes we're just not feeling it. But so this is a way to jumpstart that happier feeling, jumpstart your own optimism in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I will say you can, I guess, pin it to whatever it is that resonates with you. So for me, it's September, or at least I'm hoping September tends to be a warmer month. So I am, fingers crossed, looking forward to
Fingers
that
crossed.
sun. Yeah, looking forward to that sunshine and being able to do things that maybe we couldn't do in rainy August. And then it's also that sense of actually I can get more things done, because although I love my children and spent lots of time with them, they're now back to school and I can sort of get on with my own
Yeah.
things and focus a bit more on myself. So there are different things, I guess, that people may relate to that happen during different periods in the Ember months that you can get more positive and psyched up about as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point about deciding your own touch points. So if I think about the Ember months, exactly what you just said about the weather. So hopeful about that. And then in October, I'm not a Halloween person at all, bleh, but the chocolate doesn't doesn't hurt rather. So
Say that. Yeah.
it hurts, but it helps. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I can tap into a bit of the chocolate. Then we've got November. My family, we like to go to the fireworks. So that's a good thing to look forward to. And then we've got the main deal itself, Christmas. So decide your own touch points in the Ember months to tap into, to keep the spirits up. What about the flip side of the Ember months? We talked about the dread that people can feel in the Ember months. What would be, I think everybody should have their anxiety toolkit. what would work for you? So if you feel yourself sliding the other way into dread, trepidation, what would be your go-to things to stop anxiety?
I think one of the things is identifying why you're feeling anxious, because I think if you know what's sort of causing you to feel that way, you're more likely to be able to look at ways to prevent it or mitigate it a little bit more. Um, so for me, I think it's a bit different now, but the change in seasons and it getting cold and dark and miserable doesn't really help. So for me, it's, do I need to work somewhere else? Do I need to work in a lighter environment with, you know, more natural light? Do I need to go into the office or work somewhere so I'm not stuck in the same place, to be out and about and ensuring that I'm not just stuck at my desk and getting that exercise in? In the
Yeah.
same way, do I need to do that to ensure that I'm talking to more people, or do I just need to organise a bit more of a social life so that I'm getting out and talking to people and having that interaction? Um, it's also about planning something to look forward to. You can be happy at any time because happiness is a state of mind, but sometimes it's harder to get in there. So
Yeah.
sometimes by pre-planning things to look forward to, that can also help. I'm hoping that if we're in the habit of setting goals, the idea of not just when you achieve or reach that goal isn't just a period of happiness. Obviously, it should be the journey as well.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there are points of, whilst you're on that journey, that you can also reflect and make you think this is good, life is good, I'm getting somewhere. What about yourself?
Yeah, I have my go-to things that I would pull out when I start feeling that, because we are human and nobody's up all the time. And Ember months notwithstanding, nobody's up all the time. So I have my go-to things that I will tap into when I'm starting to feel that way. And then I've got some new things that I want to introduce that feel kind of counterintuitive, but at long last I've accepted that movement does make me feel better, and
Yep.
getting out to walk does make me feel better. So, but we're coming into the Ember months where it's getting colder. So I have to go a new step of putting on my coats and going out into the cold that I dislike to get that movement, because it will make me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And also things like reading, and what you said about having time to do our own things. Because sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm doing this for this person, this for, what about me? What about me? You know, and making sure that I have that, call it cliche or whatever, but that me time to do whatever it is that I choose to do, whether it's just reflecting, whether it's reading, whatever it is. For me, that's very, very important. If
Yeah.
not, I start feeling even more hard done by,
Yeah.
I never get to do anything for me. So that's a big way that I can ward off anxiety and repoint myself back to my goals, back to my plans, and actually be able to stay on the path of executing those plans. Because I think that's one of the big dangers of anxiety. It just derails you from what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
It sometimes grinds you to a complete halt. For me, I found that sometimes, you know.
Yeah. It is important to put yourself first. I think from a female perspective as well, sometimes we can look after everybody else and we don't put ourselves anywhere near the top. But it is important to do things that are good for your soul, in
Yeah.
order to keep going. So yeah, I completely hear that one. Um, Randomly, at one point, I was also really, really into walking. And what
Mm-hmm.
got me out in the cold was I brought a really lovely woolly hat and a lovely new coat that was like really, really thick. And off I'd go with my AirPods in my lovely gloves, my lovely hat. Felt good.
Oh, thank you. I will let my husband know this. Elena is the reason why I'm going to be buying new coats, new hats.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. But these are the little things. It's kind of like what they mean in a way about attaching that thing you want to do to something else that is easy for you to do or you enjoy doing, blah blah, that
Yeah,
will get you doing the other thing. And so yeah, I love that idea, Lena. I will definitely be taking that on board for sure.
good.
So it's Ember months. It's the season where there are a lot of events. So you should be getting out there in the Ember months. There's lots of we're going to a few things. There's lots of conferences, workshops, networking events. Then you would start talking about the socials as well. So it's the time. So if you haven't done anything with your networking goals all year, the Ember months give you an opportunity.
No, this one's making me smile, Anna, because you've declared previously that you don't really like necessarily going to these events, but you've been doing really, really well and going out and socializing. So, for those people who sometimes feel the same way that you do, how do you get over yourself so that you go out and you actually do end up enjoying yourself in the end?
And that's the truth, actually. The events that I've gone to, I have enjoyed them. And it's kind of like about, for people who've experienced it, but just make it to the gym. Make it to the gym. You do the exercise, endorphins pop, you feel better. So it's the steps that I take to actually make it to the place. So I have to create the steps. So you and I research where to go, don't we? We share ideas of places to go, and then it's about, okay, how far is it? What do I need to do to get there? Even plan my outfit so that there's no sort of reason why, oh well, no, I can't go now because
Got
this,
nothing to wear.
I got nothing to wear or whatever. So plan that all out, plan my travel, and then I usually use you as a sort of anchor, or I use my husband to actually make me get out the door, get out the door, and then get there. That's once I'm there, whew, it's done. It
Yeah,
usually, I haven't been to one so far that I thought, oh, that was a waste of time. So it's just, for me, with my personality, it's just trying to ignore all those things running in my head and just get there.
yeah,
Get there. So I have to have my whole playbook to get me there.
yeah. So that's key, isn't it? Just get there. Just get to the front door. And then all you have to do is go in. But getting there, yeah, that's good.
Getting there. So if you just do a quick search, you'll see that there's networking events out there. There's skills development events out there. There's a lot going on in this Ember months. You've
Yep.
got the Black Business Week coming up. I know that in Birmingham, I think the Black Business Awards and stuff like that. There's stuff going on,
Yeah.
so much stuff going on. So get out there, meet people.
Yep.
And this is from someone who, it's not my first love, but it's such an important part of growing yourself and developing your career or your business, what you want to achieve.
Yeah. And like you say, it's also that bit about getting out of your comfort zone. And we all know that that's when you grow, is when you're out of your comfort zone. So take the leap and do it.
Yeah. Now, the Ember months, what is the one thing, we've talked about a few things, what is the one thing you're going to, obviously we're going to try and do all of these things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But what is the thing that you're gonna, yeah, if I only do one or two things, this is it.
So I think for me, like you say, it's been about having a plan. And we both like planning, and on my planning I always have something to do with, I always try to do some form of professional development every year. And in fact, for whatever reason, I always do my courses in the Ember months. Always. I don't know. But yeah, so I have a course booked for the end of September, and that's one of these courses I've been putting off for a long time. It's something I've wanted to do, but it's the one that stretches me a bit. So that is the one thing I'm dedicated to doing. Although even thinking about it, I kind of go, ah. But yeah, that's the one thing I'm committed to doing in my Ember month.
Good. For me, it's going to be planning. Well, it's not just for me, it's something that we're doing jointly because, as you said, we love to plan, and we love to plan because it works. It's important. And that's why we're going to have our end of year planning event. And there'll be details about that in the description box. And it's not just about the planning for the Ember months, it's the pre-thought into 2025. Doing that thinking, that reflection. And so you are set up for success in 2025. So that I must do for in these Ember months. So luckily we have the fact that we're doing the course to keep us accountable, and so we're obviously going to do our own planning as well. But it is something that if you've never done it before and you join us and plan together with us, you'll see the benefit that you get from having a really robust reflection and then taking that into your planning for the new year. You're starting yourself off, with a bang, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we said before, this is the time to get excited because we all know that we can achieve what we need to in our lives. Just need to put our minds to it.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways in making sure you achieve what it is you want to do is by thinking of that big picture, breaking it down, working backwards, and having us there to help you to organize that and to know how to remain accountable as you succeed on every step. So yeah, exciting times. Planning is a good thing to do. Yeah, loving
Exactly. We are those people, not just because we are in the world of projects, but shall we say we're planning geeks? Yes, we love it.
Yeah,
We
we do.
love it, and it works.
And if it helps you to prepare for the course in terms of those little things that might get you excited, get some stationery, get some new pens so you can work it all through different colours, different post-it notes. If that is what you need, because sometimes that's what I need. It's my my stationery. Think about what it is. If you're thinking not so sure, what is it that you need to do that can help you to get there? What bits
Yes,
can make it fun for you?
exactly. What is your enabler? Because sometimes it doesn't have to be some fancy thing that's your enabler. Sometimes it's just a lovely pen and a nice notebook is going to be your enabler to get you focused to actually putting things down in writing. We all know it's important to get things out of our heads onto paper, start structuring that. Critical. So sometimes let's not overcomplicate things. Sometimes your enablers are super simple, and lean into that. Lean into your enablers. Don't feel any way about it. It's working. So keep doing it.
Indeed.
So I hope that you're going to join Alina and I in being excited about the Ember months. Be excited. There's a lot for you to achieve in the Ember months, and we're here to help you along the way. Again, look in the description for the link to our planning workshop where we're going to plan out the rest of the year and then look into 2025 to make sure we're starting the year off in the right way. See you out there.